This panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Skeptic.
I'm Kamal.
I'm Enzo.
I'm Mia.
And tonight on the new party, we have a very special guest, Aaron Baker. Aaron ran a very, very close, tight race against Randy Fine. But tonight we have him coming back to talk about his upcoming race. Those of you may or may not know, but Randy Fine built his political brand on outrage. Pretty much he's been in the news for controversial statements that he's made, being happy that kids are starving. And we're going to break that down tonight, interview Aaron, so we can give Aaron a chance for the world to meet him as he prepares for his upcoming race. Aaron, can you start by telling us the district that you're running in and about the prior race and the next race upcoming?
Sure. So my congressional district goes from Daytona Beach up to St. Augustine, over to just about the middle of the state and down to the villages and back across. So almost like a oblong square, I guess not really, kind of rectangular, but yeah. So Florida's 6th congressional district, about 60 miles of beach, absolutely wonderful, beautiful area. Previous race, I had a group of Republicans approach me and bring to light Mr. Fine's character and some of his past statements, some of his past actions. And at that point, I said, I'm in. I'm in. Whatever I need to do, I'm in. So I ran in the special election. If you're not familiar with special elections in Florida, you have a very short period of time. The qualifying date, I believe, was December the 10th, and the election was January 28th. Of course, you put Christmas and New Year's in there, it gives you no time to do anything. So basically, you have after the first of the year up until January 28th. So you have 4 weeks to try to run a congressional race. I tried. I didn't have nearly the amount of funding that Mr. Fine had. And the way that I tried to run that race was mainly in connecting with voters. I went to 68 different events during that period. And Mr. Fine was at the same events on 3 different occasions. So complete night and day approach to, really who, what, when, where, why, and how. In the end, it's the shiny postcards, palm cards that land in your mailbox, and it says, Trump endorsed Randy Fine, Trump endorsed Randy Fine. And I had some constituents in the district that received up to 16 of those. Every time you send one of those out district-wide, it costs about $80,000. So you can very quickly do the math. The reason that I have hope for this district is I don't need a lot of, or hope for this race. I'll always believe in the district. But if you look at the cost per vote, based on the number of votes that I received, I spent about $6 per vote. Mr. Fine spent about $100 per vote, and that was in the primary election. You get to the general election, that was a whole different story because there was a ton of money that came in. But my point is, I don't need $100 per vote. I need to raise a little bit of money, and if I can stay around $10, $15, $20 a vote, you can very easily see I need, 15, 20% of the money that he's going to spend And if you say that's about $3 million, so then that gives me a number of somewhere between $450,000 and $600,000 to be able to actually win this race. And I can win this race.
Why didn't he win? He lost by like only 14%, right? It was really close. I was reading.
So that was in the general election. In the primary election, it wasn't close. In the primary election, it was the shiny mailers that everybody gets in their mailbox. So primary election wasn't close, but if you look at the cost per vote, it was just massive difference. Again, $6 per vote, $100 per vote.
Got it. Okay, I'm gonna let our co-founder Gray Mars ask his first question to you.
Hey, Aaron, thank you for coming. What made you get into politics?
What made me get into politics was what I said before. A group of people came to me right before the last special election and said, basically, Mr. Fine is a bully. And everybody that was in Tallahassee that was involved in Florida politics knew that. And no one wanted to run against him because, he will come after you hard. You can go back in some of the things that he's done to other people that he does not like. I mean, he just comes after you like gangbusters. A lot of people are scared of that. I'm not scared of it. He's a bully. I know that he's a bully. So somebody has to stand up to the bully, and that just happened to be me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people are familiar with him, but he is definitely a bully. I'm gonna play this clip and then I'll kick it to Skeptic for her question. But this is just an answer. This is just an example of how he's a bully and the things that he says. I'm about to share the screen.
We heard in Brooks. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated. We heard in Brooks. We knew.
So, Skeptic, I'm gonna let you ask the next question.
Yeah. So being that you're running in Florida, I was wondering for the immigration community, where do you stand on alligator Alcatraz? Are you for or against? Do you stand behind what Florida is currently doing with the opening of alligator Alcatraz?
So I think there's a little bit of misconception there about alligator Alcatraz. If you don't have detainees here in Florida in an air-conditioned environment, good living conditions. I mean, there was somebody was complaining about the food. You know, they're going to be somewhere else. So I would rather than be in a brand new facility that everyone in the world has eyes on than at Guantanamo Bay. I, that doesn't really set well with most people. So under federal law, they're going to be somewhere. So if they're going to be somewhere, I'd rather be somewhere that's brand new, that has every single person on the planet looking at it.
Skeptic, do you have a follow-up to that one, or are you good with that answer?
Yeah, I feel like there have been reports from different congressmen and women that have said they, don't agree with the conditions that they're currently doing. I feel like it is a waste of money. We are having to bring in water. There is no pipes running into this facility. The maximum capacity is 3,000 people. They put up the tents in 8 days. So do you see this as being a waste, being that we do have facilities that could hold an average of 40,000, immigrants in a holding facility? Do you not see this as a waste?
I see so much waste in the federal government. If you look at the last budget that was passed, it was 4.5 billion with a B dollars to house illegals. That's in the One Big Beautiful Bill. And you can ask me any questions that you want on the One Big Beautiful Bill. I actually did read it. Um, I fell asleep 4 times while reading it because it's about 900 pages long. The federal government wastes so much money. I mean, there's so much that we could do for our citizens here on American shores in Florida if the federal government would stop wasting money. We can have that discussion all day long. The federal government allocated a stupid amount of money to be able to house illegal migrants. It boggles my mind how much money the federal government can waste.
Wow, that's a good point, Aaron. All right, so I'm going to transition over to Kamal Johnson, and he's going to ask the next question.
Well, I hope you're doing good today. Only question I have is, how do you feel about cash reparations for Black Americans?
I don't think that that's a practical solution. I don't think that it's ever going to happen. You're talking about something that would that would have to happen on the federal level. Um, we can talk about it all day long, but I just don't think that in our lifetimes, and I'm 45, so I mean, if I live to be, let's say, 80, I've got another 35 years on this planet to try to make a difference. I don't think I think by getting anyone's hopes up about it, you're getting somebody's hopes up about it. I just don't think it's ever going to happen.
Do you think that there's an alternative if it's not reparations then? Or do you think that African Americans in this country have been made whole?
Well, I don't think that. How are we punishing this generation for something that ended in this country in 1865? How do you come up with a balance of, okay, my ancestors fought for the North in the Civil War, and this person's ancestors fought for the South in the Civil War? Is there some magic formula where you're like, okay, well, you actually fought for the North? I just think that, we're talking about history that's 160 plus years old. It's just not, it's not going to happen. What we need to do is we need to create economic situations where every single person in this country, and especially in my district, one of the things I talk about is the poverty rate. The poverty rate in this district is 3% higher than the national average, 2% higher than the average in Florida. We need to create economic conditions where I don't have a 14.6 poverty rate in the 6th Congressional District of Florida. And those are things that we can work on day one as soon as you get to Congress.
Well,
Fair
hey,
enough.
I will say this. Hey, my foundational Black Americans out there, you heard his answer. You feel me? I wouldn't vote for bruh. As soon as we start talking about our issues, we gotta involve everybody else. So y'all heard it first from bruh.
Enzo, what's your question?
You're muted. You're muted.
You're muted, Enzo.
Forgot that I'm always muted. That I muted myself. So first off, thank you for coming, Aaron. My one question would be, what would you say the biggest issue is within your district, and how would you go about changing that or fixing that issue?
The biggest issue in this district right now is poverty. When I own a small business, business partners with a residential general contractor. So when I go to the gas station, I have a business card and I can fill up my gas tank. What breaks my heart is that if you look and see how much gas the person before you got, and this person got $4, this person got $10, this person got $12, this person got $7. I mean, there's 4 pumps right there at my little Circle K. You can see all of them very clearly. Those are people that are trying to get back and forth from work to home every single day. So the economy is still a huge issue. And like I said, 14.6% poverty rate, not acceptable. So how do we change it? We have to have a congressman that actually lives in the district, which ours does not. and actually cares about the people in this district, and will sit down across from business leaders and say, okay, how do we bring this factory to the 6th congressional district? How do we take the Space Coast that's 40 miles south and bring that industry to where we can bring good paying jobs for everyone so that the next generation can stay here? How do we protect Social Security retirees? I have very detailed policy on that. I would like the Social Security annual increase to be the same as a 30-year Treasury bond. I believe that the United States government has stolen money and continues to steal money from retirees that have paid into the Social Security trust fund for 50, 60, 40 years, however long they've paid into it. And you have cost of living increases that don't keep up with inflation. Uh, it just boggles my mind. We have to help the people here. So how do we do that? We have to address Social Security because the average age in this congressional district is 49.9 years old, so older demographic. Again, 3% higher than national average as far as poverty goes. Well, that's because you have the mobile home parks. People can't afford to live anywhere else. And now people are concerned about property taxes, which is a state issue, not a federal issue, but still something that needs to be addressed. And, if I have to get out on the corner of the road with a bullhorn and say, hey, Florida state legislators, I need you to do something about property taxes. I need you to do something about ground rent at these mobile home parks. And I need you to help me attract more high paying jobs to this district. That's the biggest issue I see right here, right now in this district is the economy.
Before I have Mia answer her question or ask her question, I'm gonna play a clip from Randy Fine. This is the clip I wanted to play. He was being interviewed by CNN.
I do want to talk to you about some of the rhetoric because there's a lot of talk about rhetoric and how this gins people up. A few years ago, you were called out for calling a school board member a whore in a text. You've called one of your congressional colleagues a terrorist. Are you part of the problem here?
Well, look, I think what people write in private text messages to each other is one thing. If I had said that in a public message, I'd understand. But I do think there are issues. Look, when we have protests on Saturday calling something no kings, when Donald Trump isn't a king, he's been elected overwhelmingly by the American people, and it's compared to the revolution. I mean, that is a call for violence when people are waving signs that say 86-47. I think we've heard this discussion about taking down the temperature after President Trump was assassinated twice, and I don't think people are getting the message. So this is
Are you
real.
not getting the message too?
And we all have
to be fair, is it fair to say that the way that you speak to your colleagues, what you say about them, and the fiery rhetoric that you also use is also an issue that you're thinking about maybe changing?
It's a fair point, but I think fiery rhetoric is different than a call for violence. Calling evil for what it is, calling danger for what it is acceptable. It's when you cross that line and you say, and that person should be killed. That's never a line that I've crossed, nor do I think it should be done. But we saw that kind of rhetoric just on Saturday at these protests. And I think that is a problem. We've seen it repeatedly with President Trump for years. And I do think it's a problem. And the problem is these people are crazy. This guy in Minnesota, he's going to turn out to be crazy. And when crazy people hear these things, these problems do well up.
All right, Mia, your turn.
You're muted, Mia.
You're muted, Mia.
I'm pulling an Enzo. I'm forgetting I'm on mute. So my one question would be, when you had made some remarks about education and how like the K through 9 would have more of a religious aspect to it. So can you explain your stance on education and how you hope to help streamline Florida's education and make it better?
I'm not familiar with the comments that you're referring to. I have said some things on education. I believe that the church needs to play a bigger role in the community overall. I believe that, when I grew up in the church, on the weekends, we had what was called royal ambassadors. Royal ambassadors would go around, and if somebody needed their yard raked, or weeds pulled, or whatever else, we went out there and we were part of the community. I think that the church needs to play a larger part in the community overall, and I think that would be a very good thing. We need to build a sense of community again. I mean, some of the neighborhoods that you drive through, you're like, everyone here rents. We need to value home ownership again. We need to promote attainable housing. We need to promote a sense of community. So as far as the church and the education system, I know that there are a lot of people that really like at-home schooling. At-home schooling is great if that's if that's what you want to do. Uh, Florida's one of the best at homeschooling. Um, but as far as the church goes in smaller grades, I think that the church needs to be more involved in the community overall.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So I have one last question, then we'll let you go, Aaron. I really, really want to start by thanking you for coming. And I really appreciate you for taking the time to come. We're a smaller podcast, so I appreciate you coming. And again, I wish you the best of luck because I really don't like Randy Fine. Um, my question is this: How would you? What is your position on the Gaza Palestine issue, being on how this is what he's in the news for right now?
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty straightforward issue. There are people starving to death. I, and as your congressman, if you live in the 6th congressional district, you will never hear me say starve away. I understand that there's an issue. The underlying issue that he keeps referring to is that there are still hostages held. There shouldn't be hostages held, but you're punishing people for the actions of the government. That's in no way, shape, or form a reasonable, one that one doesn't equate to the other. So there are people starving. It's wrong, and there are other countries doing things about it right now, and the United States of America should step up and do something about it. And the United States of America should step up and put their foot down and say, okay, enough is enough. I don't know how you two sides got so batshit crazy, for lack of better terms, just to use my language there, but how you all got so far off the rails. And I know they've been fighting for thousands of years, but at some point, I mean, we have got to return to civility, and people starving to death is not the answer.
I agree. Well, Aaron, I really, really appreciate you coming. I would like to have you back. I'm going to write you. And I thank you for coming. I really wish you guys the best. Can you let everybody know where they can find you if they would like to support your campaign? And if you're taking donations, where they can go?
Sure. It's very easy. AaronFL.com. AARONFL.com.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to say before we let Aaron go?
Oh, can I say one thing? Um,
Sure.
I really appreciate you all having me. I know that a lot of times I'm not going to agree with you on every issue, but you know what? We probably agree on 90 to 95% of all the issues. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And anytime that you want to have me back, I'm absolutely willing and able. So God bless you all.
God bless, Aaron.
God
Have
bless
a
you.
and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for being a good sport, Aaron. I know some of the questions might have been a little harsh, so I definitely appreciate it.
Not at all.
Okay, for sure.
All right. Thank you.
That's
Good
the
night,
Lord.
Aaron.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, guys. Woo! Thank